and welcome to the Mansfield Town Council Finance Committee on the 3rd of July here. And as usual, so lovely to see so many different people from the community, from great organisations here to speak, hopefully to speak and to us today. So we're just going to go through the agenda, which is item 1. So before we get talking to different groups, item 1, election of the chair of the Finance Committee. So just before we appoint, I'll say I was the chair for the last council, and it was a great experience and highly recommended for anyone who would like to do that. So do we have any nominations from the council?
I'm going to nominate Ruth as chair.
Excellent. Do I have any seconders for that?
Second.
Fabulous. Do we have any other proposals, nominations? Okay, so we'll take that to a vote. So all in favour of the Chair of Finance Committee being Councillor Ruth Thompson, raise your hand. Thank you. That's unanimous, so congratulations. Is it Councillor and Doctor? Councillor Doctor? Councillor Doctor Ruth Thompson. Brilliant. So that's what we would do. I basically have requested that I get a chance to do my a bit like Elton John, to do my last to do a few numbers before Councillor Thompson takes over. So with her permission, I'd like to continue to chair this particular meeting, but you'll see her next time. Okay, so we're going to move to item 2, the election of the vice chair. Do I have any proposals, nominations?
I'd like to propose Councillor Bennett-Wake.
Councillor Bennett-Wake. Do I have a seconder for that?
Yeah, I have second.
Ruth Thompson, thank you. So we'll take that. Are there any other nominations at all? Please. Well, we'll take that to a vote then, please. All in favour of Councillor Bennett-Wake for vice chair? Thank you. I think you're allowed to vote for yourself. Thank you. So we're going to just move to item 3, and apologies for absence. Do we have any?
Councillor Hutchison.
Thank you very much. And any declarations of interest, please? Councillor Bennett-Wake.
Yes, I'd like to declare a non-pecuniary interest in item 7.4, Mac Pride. My wife is the co-chair, and I also volunteer, although I'm not a member. And also item 7.7, Space for Autism. Children I work with attend Space for Autism.
Brilliant, thank you. Councillor Harewood.
Firstly, I would like to say my name is not spelled correctly, as I mean.
Apologies then.
And in the item 7.8, I see vesting friends. I'm not a part of that group, but I'm the councillor of the Western Estate.
Thank you very much. Councillor Gilman.
7.7, Space for Autism, non-pecuniary interest. Myself and my son are members.
Wonderful, thank you very much. And for myself, item 8.5, Scooping Scales, which I'm part of that group. That's where I get my raisins. Councillor Bennett-Wake.
Yeah, 8.3, Holy Trinity Church is in my ward.
Thank you very much. So, excellent. So we get now to go to some of the fun stuff. Sorry, no, not quite yet. Item 5, the minutes of the Finance Committee from the 3rd of April 2023 to approve the minutes. Do those who were there, can those who were there approve those minutes?
I'd like to propose those during that vote.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to second those. Okay, so we'll take that to a vote then. All in favour of the minutes, please, on the 3rd of April? You there? Yeah. Thank you. So we had Councillor Gilman and Councillor Thompson were formally part of the group, so we just have and you were off, so
Councillor.
and Councillor Howard. Okay, so will we call it to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you. And 6, updates from those minutes to note any actions from those minutes. Councillor Wilcock.
Yeah, not actually just wanted to say that I did attend Circus Star on 5.3. Fantastic performance once again. I think some of the council went as well. It's a good, brilliant way that we could see that the way we spend as the council is spent for things that are involving the community. So,
Brilliant, thank you. And I know that they offer tickets to everybody in the people who run organisations and guides groups, and so I think yeah, that's a really good comment. Thank you very much. So to the fun stuff, the grant application. No, sorry. Town clerk.
It's just an update on some funding we previously given in 2017 to the Hope Centre for the WAM night shelter. They have kept that money because the WAM it didn't happen that year and it hasn't happened since. And they have sent, they've been in to talk to us and they would like to use that money, £1,700, towards a different project with young people. So basically they've kept it restricted, they haven't spent it, it's still there. They didn't think you'd want it back. I think you'd want them to use it for something else. And they've come to Helen and I with a proposal about using it to do a youth project.
Could we just check with the council committee here that the rest of the committee would approve of that?
Yes, absolutely.
So if we came up with a, or would perhaps that we can make sure that they come to the committee to speak about what happened with that grant?
They
Would
can,
that be possible?
yes. Would you want them to come before you decide, or are you happy for them to use that money now because it's from 2017? Or do you want them to? Because they actually have the money.
I think it would be really important for us to understand what they're going to use it for. I'm not comfortable with just giving a blanket yes, you can spend it. I'm second that.
Okay, so could we have the town assistant town clerk?
Sorry, I was just going to add that we received a report from them today. Obviously, it was too late for this meeting. It's got lots of detail in it. We can obviously circulate that to the committee.
Yeah.
So you can look at that.
Do you have a proposal from Councilor Gilman or Thompson for what we should do as the next step then?
Well, I propose that the document is circulated and that if there's any objections that people register those by next Friday, a week on Friday.
Any other comments or support?
Yeah, I think it's really important that there's due scrutiny which Councilor Gilman and Councilor not only have I got menopause brain, I can't see from here either. So yeah, I think it's really important that we do scrutinise. It's a wonderful project, the home. We do lots in the town and they have got a proven track record. But just for scrutiny and for transparency with the rest of the general public, it's important that we do scrutinise that and discuss it outside this meeting.
I'll take that as a seconding Councillor Thompson's proposal. So should we just take that through? Would that be alright?
Yeah, just that they already have the money in their bank, and they've come back, so they've kind of done it the right way. I just want to explain that you know, they haven't taken money and not done anything and just forgotten about it, you know, so just wanting to explain where they come from.
Councillor Gilman.
If they had just spent it on something different, what would be the comeback from us?
We might not know. We don't always get feedback.
Okay.
We do chase for feedback as we can.
I think just jumping in there as well, that we would expect them to come back and explain to us what it is that they have done. And but I still think that councillors here have expressed that they would like to see that group come back, preferably for the next meeting, with a bit of notice and following what Councillor Thompson has said for a proposal. We do have a proposal for you saying for next Friday as the deadline for that.
So does it have to come back to the next meeting? I mean, if we see it and we agree it, can it not just be...
Yeah, exactly, that's the proposal.
Right, sorry.
And if there's an objection, people will put their objection in by next Friday.
and then it might have to go to the meeting.
Okay, so if that's all right, just to clarify, because it's great to get, I think, see consensus for this. So,
Yeah.
We'll take that to a vote now, please, and we're all in favour of the proposal. Thank you. So again, that's unanimous. So thank you, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Gilman, and thanks for feeding that back, Laura. That's brilliant. Grant applications. So item 7.1 and the Bollington Girl Guides. Would it be okay if you could speak for 2 minutes on the proposal, on the application, and preferably if it'd be okay to introduce yourself to the council.
Okay. How do you want Ali? So I'm Ali Griffin. I am the leader of Bollington Guides and second Macclesfield Rangers that meet on Station Street. I am also the District Commissioner for Bollington District, which covers Bollington and the area of Macclesfield, kind of from here up to Titherington and Herdsfield. It's a new area that we put together, so Bollington seemed to be the best name for that district. Okay. So I'm here representing them, and in August I'm taking a group of 5 leaders and 10 girls from Bollington and Macclesfield to a thing called the Adventures in Lisbon, which is an event organised by our region. To get to Lisbon, we will be interrailing, so introducing the girls to a more sustainable way to travel. The aim is to give the girls the opportunity to travel abroad with girl guiding. This is the first international trip since the pandemic, and the first opportunity many from the Bollington district have had to do a residential trip. The pandemic resulted in many girls and many young people experiencing mental health issues, closing down their experiences and their horizons. By taking part in this trip, we're giving the girls new experiences, broadening their horizons, helping them cope with change, and building their independence. All of this will build their resilience. As they plan our sightseeing in the 3 capital cities we'll be visiting, they have to agree our charter of how they will behave on the trip, and they also need to decide how they will spend the quite long hours we will spend on trains. After the trip, we will evaluate it with the girls, and that feedback will go to help improve trips and events in the future. However, in my experience, the best way to evaluate whether the trip has worked and it's been successful is by how much the girls talk about it to each other, to their friends, and how much they share it with parents. So if the trip is successful, which I hope it will be, the girls will be more confident, have built new friendships, be inviting their friends to join girl guiding, or those who are already in girl guiding will be wanting to go on future trips.
Oh, thank you very much. That was very succinct and great description. Would we be able to ask
Yes, please ask questions.
several questions? Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you for speaking to us. Just one question. So obviously you're Bollington and
Yes.
Macclesfield. Have you approached Bollington Town Council for any
Yes, I
funding as well?
have. Bollington now operate a 1 grant a year system. They do their grants in October. I have put an application in. I spoke at their finance meeting in June asking whether they would look at the grant before October, because we can't run the risk of having a deficit. So we don't know whether we're going to get that money from Bollington. We've kind of budgeted for it, but if we don't get an answer before we go, we will have to assume that we're not getting that money.
Do you mind asking how much would be the grant?
I think it's £300 from Bollington. They have slightly different bandings.
Any questions? Comments? Councillor anyway.
Yeah, just to say, you said your gathered group cover from here, Titherington and Herdsfield.
Yeah.
Whereabouts are you based?
There is a guide unit that meets on Station Street in Macclesfield. There is another guide unit that I run that meets at Water Street in Bollington. There is a ranger group that also meets at Station Street, and the group coming on the trip are split between those two areas, though where they geographically, the split is more or less 50-50 between where they go to guides, but residentially, I think it's 10 of the girls, or 10 of the people going on the trip, no, sort of 12, actually live in Macclesfield. Only 3 live physically either in Bollington or out of the area.
I just wanted to sort of state really how wonderfully enriching Interrail was for myself. I mean, I went when I was far too young, about 16.
Because 11.
Well, it was really interesting what you said about women having confidence in travelling, because it's sadly observable that my sister wasn't allowed to go, but I was. But it's just such, like you say, I mean, also the opportunity to see a working train system. So leaving Britain is very good. But it's just, and like you say, in terms of the sort of spirit of adventure, really very good. I myself have been to, probably should declare this, like, you know, was involved as a cub at Station Road, so I'm quite aware for other councillors that it's, what you're talking about when you say in Bollin, you're essentially in Macclesfield. And I just think for the actual £250 that we approve this, because I very much agree with this sort of helping the groups to do this for the purposes you've talked about. So I would like to propose that we approve this grant. I don't know if you have any other comments or Councillor Wilcock.
Yeah, so just to say, you know, it's fantastic that we've had another group that's come forward for funding from the Town Council to be able to send a group of young people away to somewhere else. Obviously, we have the boxing club, sending the girls to Ireland, and it's another way that we as Town Council can say we're proud of where we're from. I'm proud to say that we're sending people to represent us as a town, but also girl guiding, to experience new horizons in different parts of the world. So I'm fantastic to say that I support the proposal that you put forward. I think we should be looking to approve the grant. Such a small amount of money to us as a council to help 12 people kind of live a juvenile lifetime.
Just check the fact that alright, do we go one by one for a vote, or should we listen to the application, the questions first? So if it would be alright, I've proposed and we have a seconder. Can we take that to a vote then, please? All in favour of to approve the grant for £250? Okay. So that's unanimous. Thank you very much, Ali. Please, if you feel free to kind of to stay and watch the rest of the meeting, or if you have to go, then that's absolutely fine. We're going to go to item 7.2 and the DIB, the Disability Information Bureau. Would it be okay to introduce yourself as well? Thank you.
I'm Leanne Lake from the Disability Information Bureau. I'm here tonight instead of Avril Goodyear, who originally submitted the bid. So you might be aware that other than what the Disability Information Bureau, we also run the Shockability Service on Churchill Way. And our aim is to expand the services and be able to rent out wheelchairs over a longer period of time. We currently only hire out the equipment from Shockability on a day-to-day basis, Monday to Friday. So the funding, if successful, will go towards purchasing 12 new wheelchairs, 6 of which will be transit and 6 self-propelling. This will also mean that we will look at increasing our volunteer base to help run this new service. So if successful, we will promote the service via our website and our social media channels. And any money made will be reinvested back into the service for things like servicing the equipment. So we believe that this new service will benefit many people in the local area who otherwise might struggle to hire a wheelchair from the NHS or other providers for short or long-term usage. Now the British Red Cross can provide them, but they either have to be picked up from Stockport or there's a delivery fee of £25 on top of their hire costs. We're aiming for We'll also have appropriate insurance in place, and essential paperwork will be completed by persons hiring the equipment. All persons using the equipment will get a safety demonstration so that they can use the equipment safely. Now, we have run this service previously in conjunction with the British Red Cross several years ago. That was taken back in-house. We did find that service was really useful for people within the area, and we still continue to get phone calls asking, can we hire a wheelchair? Well, owing to this insurance with Shop Mobility, we can only hire that on a daily basis. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions or comments from Councillor Bennett-Wick?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, it might sound like a silly question, but what type of people are coming to hire wheelchairs on a long-term basis, and why don't they get them off the NHS?
Okay, the NHS, there is a criteria and there's apparently a waiting list. So when we've used it in the past, it's people that might have a short-term injury, stuff like they might have broken a leg or twisted their ankle, or they may have come out of hospital, or they might even, if they've got a disability, they might need one to take baby on holiday or something. So we can hire them up for like up to 6 weeks, and then maybe look at renewing it after that as well.
And does that also go for the sort of the quality of the wheelchairs that you're looking to buy? Because I know my dad had a wheelchair that was provided by under a care package, and the quality wasn't as good as some of the more market ones you could get.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we'll have to take into people's height and weight for the chairs. I know that the 6 have been identified to buy, but we'll look into people's background, not the background, won't be vetted or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will take that into consideration. I think the quality, I don't think they're going to be really high tech, like hundreds of pounds, but they'll be fit for purpose at that time.
Thank you, Councillor Bennett-Wick. Do you have any other comments or questions?
Yeah, just to kind of as well answer the question. I know a friend of mine was involved in a pedestrian involved in a car accident, and this kind of service would have been fantastic for him. Maybe he managed to, through somebody else, managed to get hold of a wheelchair. I think that was from the Red Cross, but if this was available 6 months ago, it could have been a useful thing. So yeah, no, again, fully supported this, because there are potential injuries that people will suffer that maybe they can't get around, and that's putting barriers around people. We should be expanding people's worlds when they find it stuff. Yeah.
Councillor Gilman?
Are these only for adult wheelchairs?
At present, yeah.
Are there any plans to move into
We will look at that. We'll look at the demand for that as well. We have had in the past people that from the British Red Cross, and when we've asked for a wheelchair for a child, they were able to supply that. So it's possible that we might be able to supply that. I think it depends on how tall the child is as well, that they might be able to use that a wheelchair that an adult could use. I think we'll give them the range as well.
We have any proposals or further comments or questions?
I know you're not supposed to go back again, but can I just make one more point before I do propose? I think it's a brilliant scheme. I've got lots of residents who use wheelchairs, and in the past families where we've either had to buy one or we've had a rickety one that's been supplied to the family. And the issue is, so once someone's got a wheelchair, how is it accessible to taxis and buses? And I know that's not your issue.
Yeah.
I think it's a discussion for another day, but I did really want to mention it here, perhaps to bring up in another meeting, that there's some people are stuck on wards in the estate because they can't get on a bus or they can't get a taxi that will take their wheelchair.
Yeah.
So that's a consideration for another day. I think this is a brilliant idea for those people who can't get around on foot, and I'd certainly propose that we grant this request.
proposal. Thank you. Do we have any seconds or further comments? Councillor Harewood, apologies.
I just wanted to know if the decision was made on cost alone from the helping hand. Was that cost alone, or was that an all-inclusive cost? The decision to give that helping hand the business.
It's not all based on cost, it's based on what people's needs are. Is that what you mean?
I mean, when you get all this service, when you said you had 3 coats, were they the cheapest, or why did you choose them? Other than because they're local.
Yeah, we use a firm at the moment where we get our wheelchairs from. I'd have to come back to you on that question as to why Avril chose the ones that she did, but I can answer, I can come back to you on that one.
Thank you, Councillor Harewood. We do have a proposal on the table. Do we have any seconders or any further statements or comments? Councillor Wilcott. Okay, so we have a proposal to approve the grant application for £1,648.80. Very precise, good to see. And we're going to take that to a vote, please. All in favour of that vote, please. So again, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. That's really good and brilliant to hear. Really great.
I just wanted to, Councillor Bennett Way, Cheshire East Council are the ones who give the taxi licences to taxi drivers. They have a list of accessible taxis that I will endeavour to get for you, because all taxis, believe it or not, under the Equality Act, should now be accessible. But as we know, that's not true. So I'll get the information from Cheshire East and circulate it on what taxis actually, you know.
Yeah, it's ones that don't fill down.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Because I know there is an issue that there's not many.
And it's really great when an application kind of spurs on a discussion about active. I mean, we've got the transport committee discussing about active travel, and certainly mobility is top of the list there. So that's really good. Thank you very much. We're going to go to item 7.3, Friends for Leisure. Hello, hi. If you could just introduce yourself to the council. Thanks a lot, Ali. That's good. And have fun interrailing.
Hi everyone, my name's Claire. I'm the fundraising and marketing coordinator for Friends for Leisure. Anybody who doesn't know Friends for Leisure, we are a charity that supports children and young people with disabilities from the age of 5 to 21, and we focus on leisure opportunities, so helping safely and have fun, make friends, and get out into the community. Our application is for our Friends and Family Drama Club. The reason we've come to you with this is it's our most popular group that we have in Macclesfield, and I've seen firsthand the real difference that this drama programme has on disabled children in terms of their confidence, in terms of skills that they build, the friends they make, and children that we've worked with have really struggled during COVID in terms of, they're already feeling very isolated. It's taken a lot of work since we've been kind of back to normal to coax a lot of them back out of a new routine that they've got into. This drama programme has been particularly effective in terms of that. We work with up to 16 children at any one time. We work at Falbrook Academy, so we've got some great resources that we can use there. We have a local drama practitioner who runs the group, and with the grant, if approved, we can actually run this every week throughout the year. We'll stop for the summer holidays. We hope to possibly work with up to 40 children overall, depending on who stays the whole time and who changes. And yeah, we just don't want to lose this really. It's something that we get great feedback from locally, but costs increase, other funding has been cut, so that's why we really hope to get this support.
Thank you very much. And it's really great seeing this. I was quite taken. I mean, sometimes in our meetings we have these situations where there's different people, you know, it's almost like a chance to network sometimes. But we've previously supported groups down near to Paradise Mill for the Signets group that are based there. I was wondering whether you, because it's brilliant you're out in the Ballad Room, but would you ever move to do it in any other parts of?
Oh yeah, it's something we originally started in Ballad Room because the Academy gave us as an in-kind donation, let us use the venue for free. Last year they said we can't afford to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why the cost has gone up, is because we're actually paying the venue higher. It is at a discounted rate, but we are paying for it. But in terms of where we deliver it from, you know, as long as it's local and still supporting other local venues, then we'd be happy to consider it elsewhere.
Brilliant. Oh, that's really good. That was just merely a suggestion, actually, like for another place, because there's we help support a drama space over down there. So yeah, just as a point, and just it was good to see about the sort of you've got professional drama practitioners who. So could you tell us a little bit about what the sort of activities you do? Is it quite specific or?
We tend to try and have a performance, which we'll have at the end of each term, because the children at first find it quite nerve-wracking to think about actually performing in front of people. But as we go along, they get really excited. You know, we can actually start doing things like costume design and prop design and things like that. But to get them started, it tends to be more around games. So there'll be lots of teamwork, skills building. So for them, it doesn't feel like they're having to do something formal. It feels like just some fun stuff. And actually, they're building their skills through that and their confidence. The practitioner he's got experience in terms of disabilities and SEN as well. So you can tailor that to everybody's needs. Because we have people, we'll have children who may be on the autism spectrum, but then we also have people with physical disability, so he can handle everyone, which is fantastic.
Councilor Gilman?
I'm just curiously looking for where I've read it and I can't find it. But it says that the children that attend, and correct me if I'm wrong, they pay £5
They do.
a week.
Yeah.
Does everybody pay that? I'm just wondering how, in the current cost of living crisis, parents of disabled children who are perhaps in financial hardship as well are going to find, and it doesn't sound like a lot, £5 a week, but I imagine for some it's an awful lot.
Yeah. If we have anyone who wants to attend and they can't afford that, then we look at whether or not we can help subsidise that in another way. So far at the moment, everyone who attends has actually said, if you want help, we try and give more. But we were like, no, we don't want to charge any more, which is brilliant. I think that some families do get some kind of, I'm not sure if it's the direct payments or there's
lots of things.
This isn't like a short break for it.
No.
This is separate to that. But in terms of accessibility, if any child ever came to us and said they could afford it, then we wouldn't exclude them for that. But we've had a discussion with the families and said when we wanted to, because most of our activities we try not to charge anything, or it may be very small voluntary contribution. This is our most expensive programme, but it's more regular because it's every week. And when we actually consulted with the families, they said that was what they could afford. They wanted to contribute. So yeah, because they just love it so much. So yeah.
Any further comments or?
Yeah, just
Councillor Howard, sorry.
Thank you. Is this just for the drama group, like the weekly drama group?
Yes.
I notice you have across Cheshire East. Have you applied anywhere else across Cheshire?
So we operate across Cheshire East in terms of we have kind of hubs in Macclesfield, Congleton, and Crewe. This is local to Macclesfield, so we have Macclesfield families that attend this one. Because it's been going so well, we've done some pilot sessions of the drama programme in Congleton, and we've had really good feedback. So we're looking at trying to get another one set up that's going to operate from there as well.
So is that yes, that you have applied for to other councils?
We haven't applied, we've only done a pilot for Compton. We got some money from a local trust, a charitable trust, to do that. Now going forward, because it's been successful from September, we're looking at seeking funding, which yes, we could go to the other town councils for those areas. Yes.
That's okay.
Thank you, Councillor Howard. Do we have any further questions?
I was just going to ask, how do you recruit your members? Are all the children from young people from Fallabroom, or how do you network with the families?
So we've got probably about 280 families on our database. I'd say that about 40% are from Macclesfield. They come to us in lots of different ways. So in terms of actually registering with us as a charity generally, self-referral from hearing about us word of mouth, website, social media. They might see our flyers at community events. We get referrals from social workers, health professionals, great to see. And then the drama programme is something which our project workers go out and have an individual meeting with each family, and they create a personal development plan. And if the drama programme is something we think would be really valuable, or the child shows a really strong interest, then we put that into the development plan, something that they want to attend.
Okay, that's lovely, thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any proposals or further comments?
Yes. Do you pay for the room at Fallabroom? Do you pay?
We do now. We used to get it donated in kind, but we are currently paying for the venue now because they said that due to increasing costs they need to start charging us for next year.
Okay, well, Councillor Bedway.
Yeah, I propose that we grant the request for £2,000 to the Friends of Leisure for their drama group. Having worked with children with, well, having all this week and last week sat in with children doing the school play, I appreciate how hard that works.
Well, I'm happy to second Councillor Bedwait's proposal as someone who also sat at the back holding children in place for performances in the past. I think it sounds like a brilliant and very worthwhile project that we have. Do we have any other proposals, or can I take that to the vote? Okay, all those in favour of the proposal, please to consider the grant for £2,000 to approve the grant. Thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So again, I'm just if you're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, and it sounds actually like it's a good networking opportunity to speak to some of the other groups. We're going to go to item 7.4, Macclesfield Pride. Well, it's Mac Pride, isn't it? Yeah.
The event is Mac Pride, the charity is Macclesfield.
There we go. Right. To consider the grant application for £2,000. Would you like to introduce yourself and speak to the group?
I'm not going to follow up. Can you all hear me? Right, well, my name is Kay Lomas, and I'm both the treasurer and a trustee of Macclesfield Pride, the charity. Basically, we're looking for money this year to put on our annual event, which is the largest event that we do throughout the year, and it's in the town square. I've done similar to the other year. I've changed a couple of things on the application. I guessed, the first year they guessed 4,000 people. The second year I guessed 5,000 people. I've now started to use the count from the camera, which is just under 19,000 people. I know people come and go and it could be duplications. But I thought at least it's an accurate figure that you would know. So I've done that deliberately. So I can't get any more accurate than that. Basically, we're putting on not just a one-day event, and several things as per usual. We promised that we would do this, I think, last year. We've changed the constitution, so it's not just a one-shot event every year. And there's lots of things going in with this. This particular application is solely for the day of the 15th. And we're putting on a stage, there'll be events there. There'll be no booze or food stalls. Mac's got plenty out here. And one of the things we've actually got openly, and we've said this before, we want to support Macclesfield's businesses. It's very important to us, and we deliberately have done this. Plenty of that, we don't need to do anything. It's food, wonderful. I know I'm eating today, lovely food. So basically we're looking for some support with the stage. I know I just said about using local business. We have looked at art space, we have a good stage, but we actually get a very good I'm being honest now, we have a very good sponsorship package which gives us the engineers, the equipment and everything that goes on top. But art space, in fact, helping us with other aspects this year, which is great. So we're trying to use the thing. As I say, it's mainly the stage. There's a couple of performers and things like that in there, and a few bits. I'm afraid with the leg, I've not been able to get. I said that I would always put real figures in. This year I did guess on one of them, but I think we're below where it should be. Not purely because of that. So I'm watching the clock ticking now. So now we've got some other events going on as well, which are publicising. Signs are down everywhere. We've got an author coming from Hebden Bridge, published author, to do poetry. That's the next week. But it just goes to show it's not just a one-day event for us. I don't live like this for one day a year, it's year-round. We've got lovely Silver Fairy who writes children's books. She's going to do a couple of days for the children in the library, reading her stories to them. I did see it go down. I shut up there and go.
Please finish off if you need to.
Well, not really. I mean, a lot of it is similar to what I said before. We're desperately trying to include Mac. It's a great place. I mean, I'm Bollington, but I'm very adaptable. But the point is that it's a wonderful place. And a lot of people don't realise the facilities that are in Macclesfield. And they're there to be used, and so many people don't. We deliberately sat down as a committee and said, we are going to use them if we possibly can. And
would it be okay if we ask you some questions?
Please do, yes.
So I just think as an observation, it's actually brilliant to see how MacPride has kind of actually considered this and integrated it, because it's a part of our council policy that, you know, quite obviously we're all about shop local, support local, you know, to support it, and MacPride being very much sort of very much sort of supporting its community and the wider community.
And yes, it's community with a big C.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a little, yeah.
So I was just going to say, do you have any comments or questions from them? Councillor Howard?
I have a comment. How come you have no food for the children or anything?
I'm sorry.
You can't have an event with no food, can you?
Oh no, there's plenty of food places around and about.
Oh.
For example, in the church, they have the cafe early on. There are several shops around. In fact, one of them came round the corner into the square last year with a little trolley and started selling food. There's some great eating places in Mac. But it was a bit of that was a conscious decision. We thought, well, we could provide that, but there's so many quite good places in Mac to eat, and not silly prices.
I mean free food.
Free food, well, that's a completely different thing. I'll come back and ask for more money, I think.
Yeah, I think it's if you look at the situation when Stella and I moved here 15 years ago, there was no pride. We weren't sure if Macclesfield was a gay-friendly place or not, so we were quite careful. And it wasn't until you know, the first Pride come out. Now we feel quite comfortable and safe.
Thank you.
Here, and I know not just Kay herself, but many people as part of the Pride community, the LGBTQ+ community, have come out through Pride. And I know a number of children that I've worked with in primary school have now gone into secondary school and older. They seem to grow up so quickly. Have managed to find their true selves through Pride, and that is an absolute joy, because that wasn't like that when I was certainly in school, and certainly when I met Stella 30 years ago, it just wasn't like that. And to be part of a town and part of a council that accepts that and sees the value of that is, I can't tell you how much it warms my heart. And to be so accepted here as well, even as mayor, even though I was the last mayor during. So yeah, so thank you everybody, and thank you very much for Pride.
I'll just do one quick one, very quick one.
Quick.
2 people came into the hub today and declared their gender. It's amazing, you know, that they could do that without fear or prejudice to a complete and utter stranger. That's what Matt can do for people. It really is. Sorry.
Thank you. I'll just check if any other comments or questions at all. Okay, thank you very much. Do we have a proposer? Councillor Wilcox?
I'd like to propose that we approve the grants for £2,000 for Black Friday.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Can we take that to a vote, please? Seconder? Sorry. Councillor Thompson, thank you. So we'll take that to a vote, please. Alright, all in favour then, please. Thank you, so that's unanimous. Thank you very much. That's really good to see. We're going to go to item 7.5, Mersey Rivers Trust. Thank you. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Abby Cutler. I'm Project Manager at Mersey Rivers Trust. So we're a part of the National Rivers Trust movement and we operate in the Mersey Basin. I work for the Cheshire team, so I operate basically in the River Bolling catchment. So I think I've got the best job because I have to go near the Old Mersey. I get to be up here. So we are requesting a grant from you guys basically to run one of our annual BioBlitz events. So the event is a community nature education event. It's a free event that we would like to run in Riverside Park in Macclesfield. The purpose of the event is to engage the community with the river, the local green spaces and the wildlife that they support and the ecosystem services that they provide. Basically engage the community. The event features a variety of nature engagement activities throughout the day. So it's going to run hopefully on a Saturday in August, so it runs during the school term. It's open to all, it's completely free, and the site we've got it located is accessible. So we'll run a number of events throughout the day. We'll have a refreshment stand, everything's completely free. So we'll offer refreshments, and we have river surveys, river dipping, pond dipping, we have bird surveys, butterfly surveys. What else do we do? We have an arts and crafts lady as well who comes and does nature-based arts and crafts. Basically, it's a big family fun day, basically, to learn about nature, engage with the local river, learn about water quality, invasive species, food webs, all that kind of great stuff. It's a great day out, as I'm sure you all sort of know. It's really good to be out in nature. It does wonders for your well-being. They're really enriching and educational activities for adults and children alike to get involved in. And I think what else? So everything we record on the day, we collect all of our records together at the end of the event and we submit those to a local record centre. So we're contributing 2 days of collection within the area of the course of the event. And I think that's about it. If you want to ask me some questions, I've probably missed things.
Thank you very much. That's great. And really interesting actually. We've got the ward councillor here as well. I'm sure he's got questions to ask. But I think so this is probably because of my sort of interest with the Transport Committee as well. But you mentioned about the accessibility to the Riverside Park, and you know, I'd love it if we could say that, you know, really people could much more easily get to Presbury and it become a more usable area. So I think that what you're saying, events like this particularly emphasise accessibility would be really important. I mean, I have this. I deliver my little girl in a sort of a bike trailer. So actually, half the time I end up having to sort of carry things. So it's.
I was on the Bolling Valley Way today, and not all of it is great.
So it's really I think anything that champions that accessibility to nature is fantastic. So first off, but I wondered, here's a question. Have you asked United Utilities to pay for it?
We have recently had a United Utilities project running, and it ended in March this year. So they funded our event last year, and we're in the process of applying for more funding from various funding bodies, and we'll put it in for next year's events. We want to do this event every year. It's great. We've done it twice before, and it works. People enjoy it. We get lots of people coming. It's a great event. So we are constantly building into our funding bits. We're just a bit of a gap in our funding at the moment where we haven't had the money to run it this year.
Right.
So yeah, we are definitely building it into future funding bids, and we've literally just finished the United Utilities project funded last year's event.
And just probably a question as much for the assistant town clerk, but any part of the Welly Walk that's the event?
Nature needs you.
Not at the moment, but I've written it down.
No,
So
it's just-
I'll be passing it on to,
Brilliant. So that's brilliant. Do we have other questions or comments? Councilor Gilman.
You've done this at Riverside before?
Yeah.
When?
We did it last June.
And how well attended was it?
We had over 170 people come throughout the day, so it was between sort of 10 and 2 I think it was, and we're planning for it at the same time period. We're hoping this year we're running in the school holidays, we'll have a few more people come. We invite local schools and local scout groups as well, and scout and cubs and fire and all. We've got some connections basically from our United Utilities projects and past community engagement projects, so we signpost everyone that we know through to it that way.
Just looking at the projected expenditure, you've got a high £50 for gazebo. Have you looked at organisations that might be able to donate?
That is in-kind funding from Online Partnership. So they are donating that to us. That's part of the in-kind funding.
Well, thank you very much. Do we have any proposals or further comments at all?
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea. I think it's great to look into the river bond as if we go down a Tesco shopping trolley or another Barrett's Mill shopping trolley. So I think it's a great way to get children interested in nature and cleaning up our rivers, which is most important. So
I will reassure you as well that we've been in the river Bollin since a couple of pollution incidents, and the invertebrates are recovering.
oh, that's
And
good.
there will also be a biosecurity station at the event.
I was going to ask that.
Health and safety will be up there.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Gilman, thank you very much. So we'll take that to a vote, and all in favour of the proposal, please raise your hand. Again, unanimous. Thank you very much. It's really brilliant, and I think it's great to see people talking there. I was going to suggest as well that that you talk to the Bollin guides and different groups, because there's quite a lot of groups that call themselves Bollins, so time to get in the Bollin.
It's a great name. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much. So we're going to go to item 7.6, Renaissance, to consider the grant application for £1,950. If you could introduce yourself. Sorry, Councillor Howard.
I would like to disclose a non-pecuniary interest in this matter, because I'm a friend of Renaissance, and my family have a connection historically to this area and this church.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jo, this is Kat. We're part of the Christchurch Garden Group, who are part of the Renaissance Project, who look after Christchurch Macclesfield. Specifically, we're a group of volunteers that meet on a Saturday morning to care for the space in front of Christchurch. And effectively what we do is a really important part of placemaking in the town. Effectively what we're doing is we're an outward demonstration of the fact that a church which is increasingly frequently but still only occasionally open is a space that's cared for, and the work we've done in the garden has already decreased the antisocial behaviour and the drug use in the area, but moreover the fact that we exist enables us to contribute to that really thriving community gardening scene we have in Macclesfield, where we have volunteers taking care of various biodiverse spaces within the town. The reason for the grant is that at the moment we have two limiting factors. The first is that we rely entirely on donations of plants. So all we can plant in those beds out in front of the church are plants that were given. And due to the particular situation of our garden, which is very exposed, it's a sun trap when it's dry, and it's completely exposed to the winds, the rain, the snow in the winter. A lot of what we're given simply isn't suitable for the beds. Moreover, Christchurch has a particular problem in that it has no water supply, and therefore we're not able to water the plants, and if we're given plants that aren't suitable for the area, we can't look after them. And the reality is at the moment that the Christchurch beds look lovely from about May until July, but for the rest of the year they're quite barren and uninspiring at the moment because we simply don't have the plants that are suitable for the area that we look after. So the reason for the bid is to spend it on plants that are suitable for the garden that we have. In particular, what we'd like to do is we'd like to make the garden a showcase for the idea of gardening with the climate rather than against it. A lot of the gardening within Macclesfield requires a lot of dowsing with water. We want to buy plants to create a garden that can survive without water and is therefore sustainable, but is also the plants are also able to cope with the reality of a British winter. At the same time, what we also want to do is purchase plants that bloom at various points throughout the year. Whilst we may not be able to guarantee colour and interest for 12 months out of 12, we'd like to think that we can buy a range of plants that will mean the garden looks attractive for at least 10 of those 12. Furthermore, if you look at the area around the Christchurch garden, it's largely tarmac and brick. Effectively, the Christchurch garden is an oasis within that space. It's full of insects, it's full of pollinators. If the garden is blooming for 10 out of 12, there's more food, there's more biodiversity within that area. And additionally, if the garden is sustainable for 10 months out of 12, then equally the gardening group itself can grow. And really what we also want to do is play a more significant role within the gardening scene within Macclesfield to support the Town Council's future bids for Britain and Bloom and the aspirations we have for the town to continue to really be a really successful town in terms of gardening and the Britain and Bloom competitions. And equally the garden itself is really accessible. We aim to make it a garden that expert gardeners can look after, but also amateur gardeners can participate in. So, any questions?
Councilor Gilman.
I'm really sorry, you're going to have to forgive me.
No,
I'm a new councillor in Titherington.
Yeah.
You just said, I think, that the church is occasionally, but more frequently than it was, now open.
Yeah.
Is it still a church?
Oh, yeah, so Christchurch is still consecrated,
Right.
but it is disused. So it's owned currently by the CCT, it still belongs to the Diocese of Chester, but it isn't used as a place of worship. There are restrictions on what we can do with it. It's open for events like Party in the Pews, it's open for community festivals, it's open for winter fairs. It's open at least once a month, sometimes a few times a month, but there's a danger that if the outside wasn't looked after, people might, and people before the gardening group existed, perceived that it was kind of this disused
because it looked derelict until we started tidying it. We've done huge amounts of work to actually create some form so that there's 4 beds in front. We've created brick paths so that you can walk around. We invite people in. It's actually quite lovely, isn't it, on a Saturday when the weather's not terrible. People pass through that area as they're putting around town, and we have a lot of people who will just come and chat to us, and it's a point of conversation for people. So it is used quite frequently, sometimes in the evenings. And obviously you're not going to see our garden as much, but it's quite often open at the weekends, isn't it?
There's a second-hand bookstore. The garden itself has a picking garden full of herbs that people can come and help themselves to, and we get chatting to people and encourage them to come and use the garden. So people don't always realise that it's there.
Okay, thank you. One of the things you've written in the application is, and to deter antisocial behaviour within the grounds.
Yeah.
How?
Because so in terms of there's a lot of research that shows that if people believe a place is cared for, then they leave it alone. It's places that are barren and neglected that people will feel they're being observed in. The location, I'm sure you know it. There are on the. I know you've got police community support officers that come and support with some of the antisocial behaviour that occurs on some of the lawns. Since we've taken over the garden, when we started off, we used to find a lot of needles, we used to find a lot of broken beer bottles, it wasn't really a safe space. Although that may still be an issue in some of the other areas, we just don't find it. We're there every Saturday, just don't find it in the garden beds anymore because it's clearly a space that people care for, and there's just a respect for it and people keep away. So, psychology, I think, isn't it, rather than, we haven't done anything apart from put flowers there.
Power of flowers.
Power of flowers, yeah.
I think it's fair to say as well that a green space in the town as well. So you're encouraging this. I think you're quite right to talk about. It's sounding quite strange to say, but you're saving police resources by actually making sure that it's not deemed to be a space where antisocial behaviour goes on. So I think that's a really well made point there. Councillor Wilcott.
Yeah, I just want to touch on the comment you made. So in 2019, when the last council met, we declared a climate emergency. So I think it's fantastic in the way that you're wanting to use a space that is going to bring vibrancy to an area that doesn't need all the water supply. And also, we have some fantastic flower displays in the town centre, but what you're actually saying to have plants in a space that will bloom in different times of the year, so you don't have to keep visiting it to replant it, is fantastic as well. So yeah, I'm glad that you brought this application to us as a council. Thank you.
Councillor Ludwig.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed with your idea about to work with the clients, and also you answered my question that I was going to ask about how you'll get involved in Britain Bloom, which you've always got aspirations to do that. How many gardeners or volunteers do you actually have on a regular basis?
Regularly, I think we put 10 in the bid. There's around 10 of us. However, we get people coming through all the time who would like to get involved. The issue at the moment is we're great from May to July, but I mean it's a lot of weeding, a lot of the rest of the year, which isn't that attractive to people. So that's the other thing, that if we can get more plants, so there's more to do, that more people will want to get involved.
So the aim is to be quite choiceful with the planting and a bit more specific, because we've had to just use whatever we've got. That in itself can be a little bit daunting if you don't know what you're doing, because you don't know, should that be here or shouldn't that be here? So people will err on the side of caution. What I want to do is make it as inclusive as possible. So the plan is just inside the Christchurch doors, we've got a little space. It's not particularly glamorous, but we've got a little space with a cupboard where we keep our donated tools. We can put some laminates in there and the months of the year and some simple tasks. And then if you want to come and join in, you can just quickly see what the tasks are. We're going to label everything in the beds, and then you feel like you've contributed to it rather than having to wait for someone to tell you what to do.
And have you thought about contact, because I'm with a group called, I'm sure Dr. Ruth will correct me, communities, or is
Like social prescribing?
Yeah, for social prescribing.
We'd love to do that.
Yeah.
We'd love to advertise in the main surgery that we're there and come and join us, because whilst we can be a chatty group, we're actually quite often companionably silent as we're just working away in the garden, and that's quite inclusive in its own way. So we're quite a range of people, aren't we? We're all quite different.
We'll come because I think we're all there on Saturday morning. Most of us work. We're all there to
get mindfulness.
Exactly.
Works for me.
Absolutely, thank you.
Councillor Home.
I just like to comment how the garden complements the building, this great heritage asset of the town.
Yes.
And this backdrop of the garden against the building, and how it blends with what's going on. So it looks very nice, it does very nice, and I'm for it.
I think it's really interesting to hear you talk about climate proactive. What did you say? You said with the climate, so climate proactive. I mean, part of it is I know what the drain on expenses that building is. So actually, would you think about having a water butt to capture some of the water off it or something like that?
I would love to do that, but we're not
Unbelievable.
allowed.
So the church trust won't even allow a water butt.
We rely on. I live opposite it, and we rely on water from my kitchen sink.
I managed to source some plastic containers, and Joe and I can regularly be seen crossing the road with our little containers. But what that does is it creates a challenge, which is if I can only ever have 5 litres of water and I've got an awful lot of garden there, then I'll be very, very choiceful about creating the right soil conditions, so not destroying the soil structure, and planting things deep enough that they establish long roots, and then on the whole we're pretty successful. Every now and then I might fail because it's something that's been given to me and it's quite strong, the sun there, so it can really dry things out. But if I pick things that have got really deep roots and I get them established at the right time of year, then it does okay, doesn't it?
Do we have any further questions or comments? I feel like we're going towards Gardener's question time. As a sort of, I had to give up all my plans for adoption, you know, last year. But yeah, do we have a proposal, please? Councillor Ruth Thompson, thank you. Councillor Howard, would you like to second that? Thank you. So we'll take it to a vote then. All in favour of the proposal to approve the grant for £1,950? Please raise your hands. Sorry, I didn't see them. I think that was unanimous. Thank you very much. And again,
I'm just going to pop out. Thank you.
yeah, good luck with your event. So I know it's a bit of a marathon this one. So, we're going to go to item 7.7, Space for Autism. If you'd like to introduce yourself to them.
Yeah, so I'm Cheryl Simpson, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Space for Autism, based at the Road in Macclesfield. We've grown since the charity evolved in 2005. We've grown hugely, actually. A lot of you will know where we are based now. We now run 10 social clubs for autistic children, young people and adults. So we're asking today for a grant for our Saturday club, which is for children 8 to 11 years old. We're just asking for 1,740, which will pay for the consumables that we use at the club, so the snacks, because we run the club so that they actually come to our cafe, so we eat the food in our cafe, so they'll queue up like you would in a cafe, and also for our minibus, for outings on our minibus. So the Saturday club runs fortnightly, so there's 24 sessions throughout the year, and we only take 12 children at each session, purely because our lovely cohort of children, we can't have too many in the room. So 12 children, but it does take 6 or 7 staff, so the cost of the clubs is very high, and we also have volunteers on top of that, so they near enough have 1-to-1. Some of our children that come to us have 2-to-1. It enables those 12 children though to attend a club that they may not be able to attend anywhere else, and socialise and meet their peers who become their friends, and then they go out together. And it's so important for children with autism. I have got some comments from a parent that sent it, Fiona sent it today, so I thought this is quite relevant, and it made them proud. So my son has been attending the social club for 3 years. Not only have they been a huge benefit to him, but also us as parents. It's the only respite we get for a more challenging child. It is almost impossible to find a club where you can safely leave your child, and they also enjoy it. The biggest thing is his enthusiasm and confidence. Even when struggling at school, he has the clubs to go to, so thank you for all you do. So that was just like amazing when we get things like that. It does cost an awful lot, as you'll see in our bid, to run the clubs, for about 17,000 per club, and that's because the staff cost is so high. We don't just have care support staff, we have people that really understand autism that come to our clubs, because myself as a parent, that is really, really important. And as I say, a lot of the children that come to us don't go to anything else, purely because we have that robust staff around to help them. And going out on our minibus can be fun sometimes with our little cohort, but it's really important that we do take them out to access things that maybe the parent wouldn't take them to. So even if it's just taking them out to a park, that sounds so simple, take an 8-year-old to a park, it really isn't with our cohort. They need a lot around them, a lot of pictures before we go, where we're going to, how long we're going to be there, what snack are we taking, who's going to be there, what staff, you know, it's all picture driven. So there's a lot goes into just those 2 hours for a child at our club. So any questions? Over to you, Fanny.
Councillors, do we have a question? Councillor Bennett-Waite.
Can I just say, your club must make such a big influence on children, because I work in a school in the resource provision with children with autism, and they ask one another, are they going to your club? What do they do? They discuss it.
The children come to us.
Yes, so
Oh,
it's obviously made a big impression.
Oh, that's brilliant to hear. Thank you.
And certainly I recognise the amount of work that goes into ensuring that everyone's safe and happy from that cohort of children. So yes, especially the social stories.
Yeah, lovely, thank you.
Are all the children from Macclesfield?
The majority, we've got, this is ridiculous numbers really, we've got over 7,500 members, and they are all Cheshire East. I'd say 75%, which is huge, are Macclesfield. And it's purely because we're based in Macclesfield. If we based ourselves in Knutsford, that would go up, which we're looking at. If we went to Wilmslow, the numbers would go up. But the numbers are spiralling, really. So yeah, predominantly the kids that come to the clubs are Macclesfield. It's crazy.
Councilor Gilman.
I'm going to really struggle to not get upset.
Yeah.
All the work that you do, Cheryl, is absolutely amazing. As the mother of a disabled child who happens to have autism as well, when you get a diagnosis, that's all you get. A diagnosis, you go into the big wide world and find your way. And we're really lucky in Macclesfield because we have a Cheryl who knows the way. And if she doesn't, she knows somebody who does. And you are invaluable to the children and parents of this town. So thank you.
You made me cry now. Someone needed to do it though.
Had to be you.
Thank you, Councilor Gilman. Do we have a proposal?
I'll propose. Job well done.
Okay, we'll take that to a vote then, please. All in favour of the proposal? Sorry, excuse me, lost my brain. To consider the grant application for 1,740. So everyone, Councillor Harewood, have you? Oh, so all in favour, please. Okay, thank you. That's unanimous again.
Lovely, thank you very, very much. Please come to the cafe.
Oh, I already do. Very good chips there.
They are, yeah.
Thank you very much. So we're going to go to item 7.8. Thank you from Western Friends to consider the application for £200.
My name's Heather. I am the chair of the Western Friends group on Western Estate. We've newly had opened by Peaks and Plains after a lot of badgering, a community centre on Gilchrist Avenue that's been closed for 4 years. The need is desperate for it. Last year, the group that I ran, we opened a swap shop, a uniform swap shop in the next shop, and that we got donated a lot of gifts, a lot of uniform, and we actually gave out 1,500 items of uniform in 4 weeks. That brought it home to me what a need there was on the estate for somewhere for everybody to go, because we used to have some people that just came and sat and talked. So after a lot of badgering, in April this year we got the centre open. We do lunches for the elderly, we only charge £1 for, we have bingo, we have craft clubs, and now we desperately want to open a breakfast club for the children from the school holidays. We have a lot of social workers that bring people to us and work with us, and the need for a breakfast club in a holiday has been pointed out that is really, really necessary. We're in talks with Create, who are willing to work with us, but we would like this £200 to start and get the club going. And also, we're pushing to get youth workers in there to get activities going for the children, because we need younger people to use the centre. I want it open 7 days a week. At the moment, we're open 5. We're pushing for more, but like everything, we need volunteers. During the COVID, we did, my elderly group did knitting and crocheting blankets, and we gave 25 blankets away to social services to give to people, just to keep us together, to get activities going in. All the wool and all the crafts have all been donated. There is a really big need for this on the Western.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much for that. That was brilliant to hear. We have, would you be able to ask some questions?
Yes, certainly.
Councillor Gilman.
It says on your application that you're hoping to have 80/100 people.
Yeah, over the week, you know.
With your breakfast club, or is that?
No, that's in general. I can only have 20 sitting in the community centre at one time.
Right, okay.
So, and that's an overall weekly use.
So
and I think we're up to about 80 at the moment.
So for your breakfast club, you'd have a maximum of 20 children?
That can sit at one sitting.
Oh, so would you be looking at having more than one
Yes,
sitting?
yeah, if the need is there, and I think from what the information I'm getting, we could maybe do 2 sittings, you know, for the children in the holidays. I would like to do a luncheon club as well, but that's sort of in the pipeline at the moment.
And would that be a Monday to Friday, same as if they were at school?
Yes, it would, but I'm quite willing if the need is there to do it 7 days. I have got volunteers that would be willing to do it. We just need all the food and to buy all the things for the children.
And would children or people be able to just bring their children, or would there be a referral process?
Most of it is going to be referral at this moment in time, maybe for the first sitting, but then I'm hoping people can contact us and say, if you'd like your children to come for a breakfast, just let me know, and we work on a list. But I don't want to turn any child away, really. Weston's a big estate.
And why only £200? Am I allowed to ask that? Sorry.
It's, to be honest, we've never applied before, so I don't want to be cheeky.
You are literally the nicest lady ever. You could have asked me for a kidney and I'd said
It's the first time I've done this, so
okay.
I thought we talked to my committee and said, Debbie, go for 200. Somebody said 100 at first, so we thought we might be cheeky, but there is a big need for it, but badly on the estate, and there is nowhere. The community hub has been shut for 4 years, so there isn't really anywhere everybody can go. And we've done warm hubs in the day for the winter, and we do what we call in a cool hub now. Come in and have a cold drink and an appetite and a biscuit. And we're trying to get as many people in as we can. It's taking time, but it's just really taking off now.
Are you getting the word out there now?
We are now, yeah. We started a bingo last week. We've had a bingo machine donated, so that got 20 people in. So, and we're doing it again tomorrow. But we're only going to do it once a month.
Do you charge?
All we do is we charge 25p for a book, and it's all prizes that they get that we've had donated.
I think
so that everybody can come. I don't want anybody not to be able to come. In fact, if somebody couldn't come, they would come in free. I wouldn't turn anybody away.
That's really great to hear. I think just for other people sort of watching as well, I think it's quite clear. So we've got so we look to build a relationship with all the groups that we work with. So it's very much a case of sort of because it quite often looks like we're saying we'll vote for everything, but of course we've already got a team that are looking at the really great bids and that will really help the area.
Well, I actually started in Ivy House running activities there. So we've moved from Ivy House.
Oh,
really.
Gilchrist Avenue is, it's amazing, an amazing space. I know it, and I think it's a great and glorious idea to make sure that it's open. Yeah. But I think just before we have other questions, just to say that we look really actively to. I mean, we know about childhood hunger. Areas of where there's a deprivation and children aren't getting breakfasts and things like that. And so, however we can support with different groups is really important.
And I've even got Christmas organised to do a Christmas
drop.
We've already got that far.
I've got Councillor Ruth Thompson has got a question.
Well, it was just about the Create link, because I probably need to declare an interest in opportunities because I'm a trustee of Create and I wasn't aware. You mentioned, is it Create you're working with for the surplus food?
We've been meeting with Create through Peats and Plains because this is their property, and they're hoping to come up in the next few months and start maybe doing some food banks through
so
that
surplus food project, that's excellent. So the other thing that creates, it's just really to be able to support with, because one of the things that we find within as a trustee in Create is the safeguarding issues. So once you open your doors, it's there's a lot of need, but there's a lot of people bring quite a lot of difficult, complex problems.
Yes,
So it's really
yeah.
just to ask about your safeguarding.
Create are going to go through all that with us
Okay.
because they are actually going to do the food bank.
Okay.
We're not, they're just using our facilities.
Fine.
And hopefully it'll bring more people in that we're missing. Because I worry about the people that we don't hear about,
Yes.
not the people you do.
Yeah.
Because I'm on lots of committees at Peats and Plains,
Yeah.
and I always bring up, there's lots of people that we never hear from,
Yeah.
and why?
Yeah.
You know, hopefully they're all right, but maybe they just don't know how to contact or who to contact. And I always worry that someone's slipping through the net, especially children.
Yeah. So exactly, so we can maybe help support a little bit with those safeguarding structures and policies that, you know, so when difficulties.
They've been very
turn
good
up.
from Create and meetings we've had, very good.
That's really positive. Councillor Bennett, wait, do you have a question?
Yeah, just a brief, well, one, congratulations, you seem like you're doing a fantastic job. You're
It's
absolutely
taken 12 months to get it open.
Well, yeah. I've got my own experiences in Henfield that I'm grappling with at the moment, but £200, you know, it's nothing. It's everything because, again, I work with children. You know, when they're hungry, they come in, they're grumpy, they haven't had breakfast.
Yes.
And then, you know, they don't particularly like what's on offer for dinner either. So breakfast is it's the most important meal of the day.
Yeah, because they're missing the free lunches at school and things. That was my worry.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, well, if we can do something, you know, cereals, fruit, you know, anything like that, and then they could take it home. What we've got over.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'll propose this. I'm sorry.
Chris had a comment.
No, I was just going to say I wish it well,
Thank you.
because I am not in it, and I just wish it well and hope it goes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a
Yes,
proposal.
sorry, yeah.
You want to go for it?
Yeah, I'd like to propose that we grant this £200. Do come back and ask for more next time.
I will at Christmas.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And I will definitely come to the Christmas party.
Thank
But
you.
what a crying shame that we've got to do this in the 21st century is to feed children breakfast and come to a town council to ask for a measly amount of money to feed children. And we really need to think about that.
And we do have a good account and everything is accounted for.
Absolutely.
Just before we look for a seconder, do we have a further comment?
We add that Western Friends were the recipient of a micro grant, so one of our first recipients of the micro grant, and then since then they've become a constituted group with help from EFA, and this is like the natural progression through them, so it's like a nice story.
And I do thank you for your help because I wasn't very good with the paperwork.
So we're looking for a seconder. Councillor Gilman. Councillor Harewood is the ward councillor. So should we take that to a vote then, please? All in favour of the proposal for £200?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And, best of luck with that. It's great to see the others starting to be used again. That's really great. It's been wonderful actually having you all here. If you want, please feel free to stay for the rest of the meeting, or if you'd like to leave now. So we're going to go to item 8 and the grant updates. If it's all right for item 8.1 for the Brookfield Lane. Cheryl, sorry, meeting's still going.
Meeting is still going ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. Right, so item 8.1, the Brookfield Lane allotments, the report, just noting. Item 8.2, the Macclesfield Harriers to note the report, again just noting. The Holy Trinity, I'm going to take the rest of them together. Holy Trinity, Herdfield, NCO, Scoop and Scales and Silk Heritage Trust, just to ask councillors if they have any comments about any of those. Or we've got the clerk here, to make a comment.
Just the Macclesfield Harriers, all the throwing equipment that we've found.
Throwing equipment.
The javelins and discus and shot puts,
thank
etc. They're having an open day. And they've all been invited, yeah. I don't know if it's to throw things, but Yeah, so yeah, we've all been invited. And everybody's invited.
Just say what date is that, please?
The 29th of July, 2 till 4.
July. Throwing stuff there. Okay, brilliant. So we're going to go to 8.
Sorry, just to give a shout out to Holy Trinity because they're doing a sterling job and we work together really well in the community and they're doing a great job.
That's really great. Do we have any other comments? So we've taken 8 on block. So we're going to go to item 9 and the finances. Spend to date as of May 13th of £916,067 to be approved for full council on the 24th of July. So that's an action. So we need a proposer. The new vice chair.
Can I just ask what number did you say?
916,000.
I've got a different number.
134,000.
134,587.
Yeah. So you're going to tell me which one is
It's this one. It's definitely
because
this one.
I was going to say it's a bit late in there.
Yeah, it's that one. Is that?
Okay. This is what I'm.
Yeah, it's that one. My apologies. It's that one. I'll leave that for you.
Could you read that one?
Yeah.
Out to me then,
So
please?
the spend today is £134,587,000, and that's from the end of May.
Okay. So we are looking for a proposal to approve that.
So I propose we accept that.
Which amount? Okay.
£134,587.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Harewood, thank you very much. So we're going to take that to a vote then, please. All in favour of the proposal? Thank you. That's approved. And I'm going to go 9.2, the reports. The following reports were noted. Again, I'll take one block: income and expenditure, bank reconciliation, receipts and payments, solicitor payments, and authorised payments. Okay, and the action is just to note those. Is it?
Note those reports.
Thank you very much. So that takes us to the final, the item 10, the date and place, time and place of the next meeting on the 11th of September with our new chair.
Very good.
Um,
And we pre-meet the week before.
Okay, so brilliant. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Yeah.